What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lights Out of Fun podcast. I'm Patrick. That's Claire. Um, it's a little earlier than usual. I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning to finish watching the race, so this recording is like really tiring.
I prioritized my sleep this weekend for once, and I didn't watch the race live. Watched it this morning when I woke up. So,
What'd you
yeah.
think?
I mean, I'm always happy when Lando gets a podium. Uh, you know, it was a good race, though. I think the safety car brought out a lot of excitement, different things happening to keep the race interesting.
Mm, yeah, I mean it was also like our first time at the track in 6 years. We haven't raced there since 2019. Well, 5 years then. So haven't been there since 2019, and they decided to make it a sprint race right off the bat. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that was a little interesting because there wasn't much time to practice and get used to it, but I guess that kind of makes it more enjoyable for the watcher because you're seeing them like try things out and try to get it right during the sprint race while actually still going for good points.
Mm,
And then there's some variability from the sprint and how the teams what the outcomes were for the sprint and then to the race. So
mm.
I liked it. I mean, I thought I was a little worried about it, but there actually, wasn't any like big drama in the sprint race, which I would have thought there might have been
But you don't count
because
Lando
of
just absolutely flubbing the sprint race drama.
no, because there was no contact and you know what I mean. That's what I was more talking about. I thought that there was going to be like collisions
Yeah.
happening, but yeah, no, he had his little bailando, moment where he's just gone. That was
Um,
disappointing for me. I was like, okay, I'm ready to just turn this off right now because you know that Max is just going to come back and win.
oh yeah, 100%.
So
What are your
yeah,
thoughts on
I
the new
mean,
sprint format?
I like it better because it allows teams to actually fight during the sprint and not play it as safe as they might have before
Hmm.
when it doesn't count for their qualifying. I like having sprint qualifying, two qualifying. Qualifying is like actually the most interesting part of any weekend, in
Yeah,
my opinion. It has been like that. So I'm more than happy to watch two qualifyings in a weekend,
yeah.
and yeah, I like it.
Yeah, just to reference, they did reorganize the order of everything. So last year it was practice one qualifying and then sprint day. It would be like sprint Saturday essentially. So you'd have sprint shootout into sprint race and then race. They changed it so it's practice, then sprint qualifying on Friday, sprint and then qualifying on Saturday, and then the race on Sunday like usual. Um, I like it.
I like it better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very nice. That way it also keeps the qualifying sessions separate and at very different times,
Hmm.
almost 24 hours apart even. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So different track conditions, which we saw this weekend.
yeah, um,
Variability with the wet weather. Yeah.
yeah. That was the end of the sprint quali Q3 was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Do you have a handle on why Lando's lap got reinstated?
um, I have no clue.
Okay, so pretty much because China's track is so like it's like very tight quarters, and then there's the gravel
Mm,
trap, and there's no like real time before the end of it and like the start of the next lap right there.
yeah.
Usually in a on a track there would be track limits, and then you wouldn't have your next lap count towards your it would be deleted, right?
Mm,
You can't set it at lap after you get track limits, but with China you can. Um, so that was a little controversial, I guess, because Lewis thought that Lando's lap was was deleted, and he didn't try to improve because he was told he didn't need to. But I mean, anyway, it ended up well for Lewis. But yeah,
yeah.
I was excited about that, and I was excited they got to keep doing flying laps because they're on those inters.
Yeah. Um, Moving on to the actual qualifying itself. Um,
Hmm.
First thing is we got for the first time to see both Alpines make it to Q2.
Yeah,
They brought a
Yep.
brand new underfloor to the car this weekend, and
Just
it's
for Esteban, I believe.
no, it's for both.
I'm pretty sure Pierre didn't get the upgrades this weekend.
I think they said on live broadcast that they both got them, but I can double check. Um,
Hmm, I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, they brought a brand new underfloor to the car. It's significantly lighter and also changes the way that the airflow goes around the car. They didn't bring any other upgrades as far as I'm aware. And so yeah, it's still fantastic step forward for them. I mean, especially given the start of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, it was a bit at the cost of Lewis Hamilton making a mistake
Yeah.
in Q1, getting him knocked out. Yeah, like that was totally a mistake on his part. I mean,
Yes.
definitely. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy and great that you can go from a sprint qualifying where you get P2
Mm.
and then turn around and get a race qualifying P18. But I mean, he had a good comeback drive. P9 damaged, damaged his, or blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Limited his damage.
Yes. Damage limitation. Um.
Yes. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
onward from that, we also had three DNFs this weekend from the race. I think it's three, or
Oh
was it four?
man.
That was three. Both of
It was three.
the V carbs were out,
Not
and
their fault.
yeah, fair. Danny Rick
Mm.
also had a brand new chassis this weekend, so that way he couldn't complain about the car anymore. And I mean, his weekend
But
was
he
a little
wasn't.
better.
He wasn't complaining.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you feel about his direction? I mean, do you think it'll get better? Because it doesn't feel like he has much time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they have to look at the potential of what the race could have been. I feel like he could have been on for points, but we'll never know now because Lance Stroll acted like Lance Stroll, and that guy, I I can't even with Lance Stroll right now.
I mean,
But
I genuinely count that as like pretty much a race incident, just because the way everything played out there, everybody
do
was
you not
patient.
trust like what Ricardo's saying about looking at his onboard?
Not really, no.
That he wasn't looking ahead of him. He
Well,
was looking through cars ahead.
the general
When he hit him, he
concept,
wasn't even looking at him.
yeah, because you expect the car in front of you to be actually moving.
But you know that with a restart, people are going to start slowing up at certain point. So because the race leader, backs up the pack
Yes.
and then goes at
Regardless,
their own pace. And so,
I don't count it against Stroll. In that case, it's just a safety car incident. Like when you go to a
okay,
hairpin, it happens. It's probably happened in the
yeah,
past numerous times.
for sure.
Yeah, and
But you have to be ready to break.
of course, but also like it's just a racing. It's just a safety car incident. Like Danny
All
Rick could
right.
be
Well,
frustrated about it, but in reality, like it's not like he was actually going to score points.
he could have.
No, it's not like
All
he was
right.
fighting
Well,
Nico. It's not like he was fighting Hulkenberg and
he was
Lewis.
right behind Oscar, and Oscar was also a victim of Stroll in that effect. Isn't that where he got his damage?
I don't know where Oscar got his damage.
I'm pretty sure Daniel like ran into him too
That checks
because he
out.
got pushed by Stroll. Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah.
not a good time for VCarb or Danny Rick.
No,
Yeah.
Yuki totally not his fault either. He just got hit
Mhm.
by K Mag
I think this is the first actual
punctuation.
qualifying that Daniel beat Yuki in straight head to head.
Yeah,
But you can also attribute it
not
to,
saying much because they weren't. Yeah,
yeah, they weren't running
but
the same. Like Danny's running a completely upgraded chassis that Yuki has
yeah,
never gotten, which mind you is an absolutely ludicrous like request.
I
I
guess.
dislike this car so much that I want a chassis made for myself.
I
That
guess
is
that's
absurd.
just that's Danny Rick. I mean,
There's like outside of Max, there's probably nobody on the grid who can ask for that.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think Lewis could ask for it?
No, Lewis complains about okay, this is also something I want to talk about. I'm so
He
tired of his
was
complaint. I'm
complaining
so tired of it.
so much.
It's like I
I
get that
know.
you're leaving the team at the end of the year, but like you're just slandering Mercedes at this point.
But he always has done that. When the car isn't exactly perfect, he's like, this is the worst car to drive.
Well, no, because he's always been like humble about it. Like he's always like, I know we're like doing our best, but like let's keep pushing. It's not even let's
Yeah.
keep pushing anymore. It's just like, guys, this car fucking sucks.
Well, it's because they haven't like taken his input in the last 2 years,
He
pretty
also
much.
doesn't use the simulator, which means there's no input to be taken. He's like
But
openly
that's always
state.
been the case.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's not working and it's clearly not working, and you want to give input, then why wouldn't you help?
That's what oh, Mick Schumacher's for.
You can't rely on just a reserve driver to give you all your input for your actual race car. It's not like Mick's actually driven the actual car.
I'm just spitballing here. Lewis shouldn't. Yeah, he should help out more, I guess.
But he's moving at the
But
end of the season. It's almost like
he's
he's
yeah,
like
he's
out
ready to go.
to. It's almost like he's out to just like ruin Mercedes' reputation before he leaves, and it sucks to
I
watch.
mean, I guess with his fans, but like the moderate F1 fan should take it with a grain of salt
Well,
and realize that Lewis is also not driving it that well.
yeah, like
Yeah.
he blames everything, like all the problems that he's having on the car, and it's like, dude, you're
Nope.
going to a team where you replace a driver who's doing clearly better than you.
Hmm.
Like I bet Ferrari's probably questioning themselves. Lewis is 39.
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
He's
I
not aging like
know.
Fernando.
I don't know about that, but I don't know. Yeah, Fernando, he's doing crazy good.
Yes,
You
especially for
see
his
him
age.
save his gravel trap
That was
dip,
fantastic.
and then goes on to overtake Hamilton. I mean, I know Hamilton was going slow on those hard tires, but still, like within like the same like lap, he like he's
Yeah,
off the track and he saved. I don't even know how he saved that.
yeah. Oh,
That's
that was another really
crazy.
cool incident. Carlos Sainz intentionally saved his car from being destroyed. I was like, that's sick.
Well, he
Um,
what like fired it back up?
no. So, remember the same incident happened with him during qualifying where his car got on top of the
Yeah,
curb, and spun into the wall. Um,
yeah.
he like locked up everything, so it was a J turn. So that way, it was intentionally his rear tire that hit, and not like the chassis or breaking the front suspension or
So you're
anything.
saying after he
Yeah,
lost control, he quickly.
like fix the direction of the car so that way it like minimized the damage. And I was like, that's so smart. And he
Oh
like
wow.
during the qualifying he even talked to his race engineer. He's like, yeah, I tried to save the car as much as I could. And then he got
Yeah.
back to the pits and I was like, there's no
And,
damage
and
anywhere.
then didn't he out qualify Charles?
I believe not. He got
No.
P7. Charles got P6.
Okay. Well, he was right there with the
Yeah.
damaged car. And
No, the car had no damage. It was wicked. I was like, good on you, Carlos. Holy smokes. Um,
after losing it in that corner and then going on to continue qualifying is quite crazy.
yes.
Like
Fantastic
going
work.
back into that corner.
Um,
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Haas. So last year they were the freebie car to slander because they were god awful. They had fantastic one lap pace, but they had no tire
Hmm.
deck. They couldn't keep the tires.
Yeah.
And Komatsu, is that how you say his last name? The new team principal.
Sure.
He said
Yeah.
that their only goal for the entirety of winter was to fix their tire deck problems. They said they're not going to
They
increase
they did
pace.
that.
Yeah. They literally didn't go to increase pace. They didn't go to increase like downforce, none of it. The only thing they wanted to do was fix their tire deck problems. Boy, did they fix them.
Hmm.
I think this is 3 out of 5
Yeah.
races that Haas have scored in now.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I mean, Magnuson was just being a freaking crazy man.
Yeah, that dude is a
But
menace.
yeah, after he boots Yuki, he then goes on to get a penalty, and so did Stroll, and then they go did you see their back to back like fighting, switching off in every corner?
I love
That
watching people
was, that
fight.
was for last place. For last place. They're so committed to
Love
get
it.
last place.
I love it. It's great.
But yeah, no, I mean, while K Mag was doing that, Nico was,
Trying to do a
just
P10.
fighting to stay alive. P10, get a good solid point for the team.
Yeah.
With so many bottom teams not scoring, each point is like so valuable
Yeah.
for those bottom five teams.
Ooh,
I
speaking of bottom
think.
teams. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go. No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sauber. They also brought a minor upgrade this weekend.
Oh man, I was so excited. I was ready for them to do anything, do good because Valtteri started
I
P10.
felt so bad for Valtteri.
I saw something, probably a joke
Hmm.
that he left his handbrake on.
I wouldn't know.
Okay, I don't know. They said it was a power unit issue, I guess.
Yeah. I feel so bad for him. He, like, legitimately speaking, he put it. Okay, first off, he put a kick salver into Q3 on merit. Like, and then
Yes.
both kick salvers were in sprint Q3. Like,
Hmm.
that car looks so much better now. I'm so happy about it. I
Yeah,
feel bad for Vel.
definitely.
Um,
Yes. But I mean, I think he enjoyed his home race,
yeah,
even though he didn't score points.
you kind of hope to see him on the grid next year. Like, maybe not, he's not like the greatest driver like you've ever seen, but like
Yeah.
the amount of fan support he had at that track was absurd.
Definitely, definitely. It's hard to see drivers come and go, but it's hard for him to even prove himself in that kind of car.
Yeah. Um, yeah, he drew up to 14th. They also gave him his own, at the end of the race, they gave him his own little spot.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That was awesome. I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
he's getting special treatment. Like, who cares? Lando got a podium. Like, let's just focus on Joe.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, it does like commemorate the first ever Chinese driver to finish a Chinese Grand Prix or start one even. So,
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
coolest part is that he's from Shanghai, which is where the track is, so that makes it even cooler.
Yes, yes. And did you see those trophies? They were crazy cool.
Yeah,
They look like
the first
they're supposed to be like
wearable F1
a dragon,
trophies.
right? Right?
Yeah.
A dragon. But they
Um,
like were also reminiscent of like a laurel wreath that they put on the driver that won.
yeah. They actually, it was one of the big highlights of the ceremony that they did. Like, they showed it on Thursday actually, and it was one of the coolest things because it's the first wearable F1 trophy, and I was like, that's so sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Lando did his signature,
Yeah.
with
Whatever
the
that champagne
champagne.
they had at the end of the race, they need to do that more because those things were so much more fizzy than last race.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, he didn't have the
Where was
chance
the
to
last
break
race again?
Max's.
Japan. I Yeah, it must just be wherever they how they're shipping it or something. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he
It
didn't
should
get
all
the
be the same
he didn't get the chance
when
to
it's not
break
sparking
Lando's
one.
trophy.
Yeah, there's no way he could break it. He looked at it. I don't think I can break this one.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
on the topic of McLaren, Oscar still had a pretty decent race given the damage he had. Still drove to respectable P8 and Lando, of course, P2. Um,
Hmm.
First, we'll talk about what happened this race, and I want to talk about the prospects for next race. So,
Okay.
this race, Lando, after the safety car, it was who was the Ferrari, Leclerc and Perez were fighting each other for third and fourth.
Hmm.
And realistically, if Perez got ahead of Leclerc a little sooner, he might have been able to catch Lando. But Lando managed to put like a 5 second gap between him and those two.
Hmm.
And he did so well during sectors one and two that the 1.05 seconds he was losing down the back straight didn't matter.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is actually insane.
But it also highlighted
Wow.
like the biggest problem that McLaren have, and they have no straight line speed. I was like, how are you
Yeah.
losing a whole second? There's no way.
Yeah. Well, that's something they're gonna work on for sure.
Yeah. But it
Hmm.
also highlights how what like good of a job he does in
Yeah.
corners because
Honestly,
the track dominance
him
chart
and
was
Oscar,
insane. Yeah.
it's crazy.
The track dominance chart, that was like the like you usually see some strange things like, one person might be really good on straights versus the other person's really good in the
Hmm.
corners. But this was just like the whole map was highlighted in orange and then you had blue, just like from the start of the last corner to the back, the end
Hmm.
of the back straight, and then around to the first corner, it was Checo, and I was
Hmm.
like, that is insane. That is an insane chart.
Yeah, and somehow Alonso got the fastest lap
Yeah.
because he went,
Well, he
yeah,
pitted again. Yeah.
pitted late to overtake.
Great
Yeah,
move, by the way.
yeah, definitely.
But next race, McLaren are bringing a full car upgrade.
Let's go. Miami's gonna be great for us.
Yeah, it's not a great race in general, but yeah.
I know, but it's a points opportunity,
Yeah.
so I'm excited about that.
On the opposite side of that same fortune, Williams had to push back their upgrade for two races because they broke three chassis in two races.
I'm very sorry about that, but no damage done this weekend.
No damage done this weekend, thankfully.
Hmm.
Um,
But no points gained either, so
yeah. That being said,
it's
Alex
very
did have
hard
a very good
for.
race. Um,
Yep.
he started P14, ended up P12, was like a second and a half off of Alex, and then 3 seconds off of a points finish.
Still, I got it. Logan finished last. How does that keep happening?
Yes, he did. Um, yeah, it's unfortunate, but also Logan was on the same strategy as Alex, and he's not as good at tire saving as Alex is.
Yeah, that comes with time and
Yes.
experience, but
I mean, the people behind him
also,
also pitted for new tires.
okay,
So K-Mag,
yeah,
Stroll, Joe all pitted for new tires and proceeded to overtake him. He also had a penalty, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
yeah,
Which, mind
yeah,
you, a little harsh to give him a 10-second. Like the naked eye could never have like I don't know if you saw how it happened. You know where the safety car line is? How like whoever's in front there
yeah.
is the one that gets to take the spot. It was neck and neck. It couldn't have been more than a tenth of a second, maybe even half a
Hmm.
tenth. Um, and apparently Nico made it to the line before Logan did, and
Uh-huh.
Nico was coming out of the pits. Logan was coming down the main straight. So it's like
There also was something that happened with Danny, and he will get a three-place grid penalty
yes, I did
in
see
Miami,
that.
in the Miami Sprint, I believe.
Yes, is Miami a sprint? I don't
Yep,
think it
yep, yep.
is.
Oh, okay.
That would be a terrible sprint race. Oh, it's a breach in safety car regulations.
Yeah, he he thought had a right to overtake Nico, but didn't. And then because he was out of the race, they couldn't give him a time penalty. So they,
Correct.
yeah.
Oh, and then the other half of why Logan's penalty had to stand was because he pitted that same lap, so he didn't have the chance to give the position back to Nico.
Okay.
So, unfortunate as it is, but it's not a three-place grid penalty for next race. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
oh, I think
Did
that's
you find out if
actually
Miami's a sprint or not?
I can double check. But yeah, another team I wanted to talk about was Ferrari. They finished 4-5. They started 6-7. And Lando
Yeah,
said that he was expecting the Ferraris to finish 35 seconds in front of him.
I know. Lando's funny, but he manages expectations, which is good because
It is a
that fully could
sprint.
have happened.
You.
All right, there we go. I mean, I think they have to do something to make it a little bit better.
It's just not an
To
exciting
try,
track.
to try and make it better.
I suppose.
Back to back sprints, interesting.
Yeah, I think we had it last year too. We had Azerbaijan into something else. uh, yeah, but
All right.
um, so this is just a funny thing, and then we'll talk about a little bit of next race, and then get out of here. But you know how like Lewis was like, "Where's that half? Like, where's that 5/10 at?" When Max had the whole field by 5/10 in qualifying
Yeah.
in Japan. Um, I was doing time trials in
Hmm.
on the Austria track, which the Red Bull Ring is super easy to like maximize your time. Um, the top person's time is absurd. It's not for a lack of like trying hundreds of different setups. Um,
Yeah.
I am 4.5 tenths off of the top time setter.
You can't find
Exactly.
where to get it.
It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
And
Do you
it's
feel
like
like Lewis?
it's the craziest thing. And then I've looked through like multiple different like Reddit forums and like different social medias about it. apparently people are just like we don't know how to find more time on this track. It makes no sense because it's so easy to lose time, but it's so hard to add
Hmm.
even a half a tenth of time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so that was just an interesting thing. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about next race. So we have Miami, of course. Not my favorite track, but we have a few teams bringing a raft upgrades. Obviously, like we said, we have McLaren bringing raft upgrades. Mercedes are bringing a couple small changes. Um, I believe Red Bull are planning a couple of small changes as well, just some minor bits and bobs. Aston Martin are planning on bringing a new upgrade. I think they brought one also for China as well, but they decided to take it off after practice. Let's see here. Let me make sure I'm correct. I think Haas is planning on bringing a new upgrade, which will be good for them. Sauber is planning on bringing a large upgrade after China, where they brought a small one. Um, thoughts, prospects, what's gonna happen?
I don't know. Max is gonna win. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think that's the fairest prediction you can make.
I just hope it's not as cheesy as it was last year. I just hope they learn their lesson.
I think 2 years of
It's a,
existence and it's probably the most boring race I've seen.
and then the theatrics surrounding it is just, I don't know. I don't love it,
Yeah,
but I am excited for it to be at a reasonable time for us here in the states. So
not up at 2 o'clock
I
in
don't
the
know
morning.
who's yeah, I don't know who's gonna win, but it's probably Max and Red Bull's gonna dominate as they have. But like we find our happiness in who gets P2, P3,
P10.
and P10. Not Williams.
Hey, be nice. We're trying.
I know. Yeah.
No, but
So
I do genuinely like I want Williams to do better, but at the same time it's like um it's tough. It's very tough. James Falls is in a very hard position. Um
definitely.
I think that, you know, the board is very happy with him though.
Hmm.
If I had to put a
There's not
guess
much
on
more you can do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well also like okay, so kind of rewinding to Mattia Binotto, right? A lot of people didn't like him for what he did with Ferrari, but Vasseur is really piggybacking off the work he did there.
Yeah.
Bernardo was an engineer
Definitely.
through and through. He's definitely not a like team principal material, but I think that he loved Ferrari more than anything, and
Hmm.
the way that he went out and the way that he set everything up for Vasseur or whoever the next team principal is going to be was just flat. Like that is somebody
He
who
took
played a
one for
role.
the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
He knew that it
literally
wasn't going to be popular, but it needed to be done.
he burned off his entire time as the team principal by updating every single facility, getting the best team members. He literally got Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc to be on the same team.
Yeah. Dream team, but no more after the season. Charlos.
But yeah, so like kind of, but I use that as my reference point because it looks like James Fowles is gonna have to start looking at doing the same thing. And now that Williams are
Yeah.
operating much closer to the cost cap, you might see them start to have to like push back on doing upgrades in order to update their 25-year-old facilities.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely. But it might,
Um,
yeah. There will be work done behind the
a
scenes
lot of it.
helping Williams to be better in the future.
Mhm. Um, yeah, they're I think they're headed in a good direction. It feels unfortunate for Logan because he like this is his last season.
Yeah. Do
As
you do you believe the rumors that he's on a race by race contract?
I don't think that much no. They can't
Okay.
afford to do that with anybody.
Okay.
I do think he's on a full year contract, but at the same time, it's like be, because of the way that things have played out, only in the first 5 races, you know that he's not staying for another season. They gave Alex his
Hmm.
car after Alex broke his own chassis. The following race, they gave Logan Alex's broken chassis. Then Alex broke another chassis. Logan didn't break his own, like the already damaged
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
It's
I
just
know. I know.
like they're treating him
Yeah.
so poorly. And like I
Well,
understand that you have to prioritize scoring points and whatnot, but also like I think I'd put it the way that Max put it. If I were in that team, I'd crash the car and just walk out.
yeah. No, for sure. But that's Max.
Yeah.
Logan
Um.
can't afford to do that.
No. Yeah. It's just it's an unfortunate situation to be in. But I do have high hopes for their 25 and 26, which is kind of weird just saying that because I mean, it's 24 is just not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Well, a great race. Very excited.
yes.
McLaren's on the up and up, still P3 in the constructors. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
don't think anyone's going to challenge them for that. Mercedes aren't good enough for that. Aston Martin clearly aren't good enough for that. It
they
reminds me
would
of
be if Stroll made any sense.
yes.
All
We
right.
have
Well,
three teams
good
sitting on zero
weekend.
points.
Yeah.
So any one of them, I mean, honestly, if you look at teams 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's 7 points, 5.000. So
Mhm.
one decent finish or any of the bottom five teams, and they're suddenly in contention for P6 in the constructors. So
Yeah.
uh, hopefully we get some better action than usual in this upcoming Miami Grand Prix. With a sprint coming up, it should be more fun. Hopefully there's a few
But,
less
you never know.
theatrics.
Could just be boring.
Yes, most
Could
likely
just
the
be
case.
boring.
I hope rain affects the session, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want a rain
Weather
affected
always
race.
helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are clearly better cars and drivers in the wet, so hopefully we get some of that,
Hmm.
especially since it's on the coast. Yes.
Yes.
But oh,
That's
if you
all we
s-
have for you.
yeah,
Oh,
if you stay till the end, let me know where you think Carlos is going to end up. I don't know if I've asked this before, probably not. Where do you think Carlos is going to end up? This is his first race finishing behind and both in qualifying and in race behind Charles. So I'm curious
mhm.
to know what you think about his weekend and where he's going to end up. And until next time.
It's lights out and away we go.